Hey, everybody. Good morning. It's me, Teri Hunter. I'm here every Sunday morning on Lotta's channel to bring you messages from the angels for the coming week. I want to welcome everybody back. I'm checking out my hair here. Let's see how the camera's going. Hold on. Hey, welcome, everybody. Okay, my hair. I don't know what to do with my hair. I need a cut. Good morning, Donna. Good morning, Melissa. Okay, I'm excited to announce a winner. Deborah Alonzo, I believe is how you say it, won. She was the first person. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Heidi. Good morning, Karen. She was the first one to pick the number 1 last week. Can you see it? So Deborah Alonzo is how I want to say it. 1 and small wildflowers. I am so glad to see you. I don't know if you know it, but I've been thinking about you all week long. I've been traumatized that I have no idea what your name is or how to reach you, but I've been sending you tons of love and tons of good vibes because we knew, all of us in the audience knew, if you weren't here, there was a darn good reason for it. And then when I didn't see you in the comments, I started to get a little concerned. Okay. All right. So Deborah Alonzo, you are a winner this week. You have 1 week to claim your prize. And that is a half-hour free reading with me, Teri Hunter. The lighting today is not so good. The sun is finally out for the summer and my glasses are reflecting. Sorry. Let's see if I can move this around. Okay. All right. So Jupiter is going direct today. That's delicious. And Uranus is going retrograde until January. So that's going to bring some stuff. I was reading that that there's some aspect with this fixed star called Aphrodite. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I went and looked at that up a little bit. So there could be some unexpected things going on in our romances. But just remember that, you know, we still have our retrogrades for the next, I don't know, a little bit with Saturn and Pluto. So want to make sure that you allow yourself the opportunity to observe any unexpected events that come in your life so that you can just, you know, right, Uranus and all. Okay, and then you guys, I wanted to tell you, okay, so I didn't do very well with the animal totem this week because literally the animal totem came into my house. I think I mentioned earlier last week that I had a mouse. Well, that mouse made the biggest hole underneath my sink, like humongous. And I think they were having rave parties in the kitchen at night while I was sleeping. So while I wanted to use mouse as the totem, I didn't do a very good job of looking it up and getting some information about it. So I more or less just wanted to bring it up so that in case any of you are interested in researching it, I believe that mouse has a lot to do with paying attention to being in the present moment, not being too far in the future or too far in the past. But again, I was so busy dealing with a real live mouse and it was all over my place. Like it left its little evidence of itself. So it really kind of creeped me out. All right, let's go right into our readings. And I'm just going to keep the flow going. I'm going to start with Pisces again. Yes, Uranus is going to be retrograde until January. And I want to say this too, because I feel like it's really important to prepare ourselves emotionally and spiritually during this time and not resist any of the changes that come in to more or less about letting things bubble up. Thank you, Melissa, about stealing from you and running away. I even found it had nibbled in my bread. And I have like a little hutch over here and I keep my fruits and vegetables on it. And man, oh man, really creeped me out. But thank you for bringing that up. All right. I know I'm going to get thumbs down because I interrupt myself all the time. So I'm over it. But this whole thing in the middle, I think Uranus is going to go direct around January 12th. And at that point, I believe they will be really feeling the conjunction between Pluto and Saturn. So I want to offer you this. Those of us that are spending a little bit of time really putting some intention with spirit, you know, going first to spirit, first to God and the angels, and then going out and taking action that way, we can very much find an alignment that Uranus will bring some good things. This could be the Pluto-Saturn transformation that seems like we've been going through it for months and months and nothing's ever going to change. And then unexpectedly, out of nowhere, like lightning, we are freed and independent from whatever that situation was about. So, okay, I'm going to go on and start with Pisces. Well, Pluto is a destroyer, creepy Kita. That is exactly what it does, but it only destroys to rebuild. It's the ultimate pruner. So if you're sort of more willing to release whatever you're, oftentimes we hold on to things because we can't see how the change will benefit us. So if it's been super disruptive, that's even more reason to sort of surrender and then connect with spirit so that they can show you the wisdom and the transformation of that dynamic between Pluto and Saturn. Because I want to say this, guys, I believe that as a soul that, our natal contract is our natal birth chart, thank you, my brain, is a contract we make with ourselves. I feel like it's when we go to college and we create our own schedule for the semester or for the year. We decide with God and the angels what we want to work on as a soul. So within that, there are progressions. We see astrologers do the progression charts and we see that. So many of us, all of us that are alive right now that are experiencing this conjunction have agreed to it in some way because we know on a soul level that if we allow for this bubble up and let this stuff to sort of, whatever imbalance was there that we thought was balanced, we thought was something structured, but through our evolution, it no longer really serves our greater good, then we can enjoy the rewards of that transformation. So we signed up for this. And I really believe that when we tend to look at the planets sort of flat. We look at Pluto, bad guy, Mars, bad guy, Jupiter, good guy, Mercury, fun guy. But there's a lot of dimensions and hues to them. And that's why I just don't always want to, I'm not having much fun having, mouse running around my house and having a bunch of disruptive things going. But I also see the wisdom of being able to see how I show up during those processes. Okay, now I'm finally going to go on to Pisces. Start with Pisces. All right, so Pisces rising, Pisces moon, Pisces sun, or again, you guys, if you have a stellium in Pisces, pay attention. Because I think when you have a lot of planets in one sign, it has an influence. And sometimes your rising sign isn't there, your moon isn't there, and your sun isn't there. Okay, Pisces. We're starting with Rosetta. The next angel is Bethany. The third is Yvonne. And the final is Athena. Okay. Here we go. If you wonder why I knock on the cards every once in a while, it's like knocking out old energy. JP, I think you're right. I absolutely buy into that. Okay, joining Rosetta is the Trust card. Joining Bethany is the Spider. Joining Yvonne is the Death card. And joining Athena is the Disruption card. All right, Pisces. I want to say this. It's interesting to me because Rosetta represents parenting, teachers, children. Teaching children, parenting children, having and guiding children. And here's the Trust card. At this time, I don't believe that this is actually about parenting for Pisces. I feel like it's trusting like a child in some ways, because when I first looked at this spread and so here's our foundational position for those of you who haven't seen me before. This is where we're sitting. And at this moment, we just talked about, this whole period of time, this last 2.5 years or 2 years, going to be 2.5 by the time January shows up. It's been about going to the deeper truth of what we want, the inner child's wants and needs, the inner child's desires and dreams. The one that wore a cape in Target and didn't feel funny, is now it's about trusting those wants and those desires even more than ever before. And I'm saying that because in the opportunity, the obstacle is Bethany, a card of self-care, and the spider. Now, for me, when I first saw the spider card, all I saw was the fly going into the net or into the web, and the fly doesn't come out. It sticks. So this became a relationship card for me. And then there's Bethany. Bethany is that card of self-care. So I'm saying, as you practice self-care, as you practice trusting your inner knowing, when you go to Spirit and you say, Spirit, this is what I really want. I really want to be in a relationship that's committed and loving. I really want to be purposeful in the world. Whatever your deepest desires are, and you go to Spirit with them, they will stick. And now is the time, in the angel's advice, to be vulnerable. This is Yvonne. This is my card of vulnerability. And then this is the transformation. Being vulnerable to your biggest wants and desires is going to give Pisces, rising sun, moon, and stelliums an opportunity to assert themselves in a new way, which is going to seem a little disruptive, maybe to the outside world, but it's going to be a good disruption. It's the kind of disruption that calls forth the dreams of your heart, the dreams of what you want. I want to say this. Years ago, I heard a saying, love is sometimes interruptive. Sometimes, rather than, always, I don't want to say taking the easy route, but maybe not wanting to ruffle people's feathers, or thinking, oh, well, maybe if I just, I feel like Pisces, it's potentially been putting themselves aside, or putting aside their deepest desires, and maybe settling for a version of it, but not quite the right version, or the one that really knocks a punch. And now it's time to be a little disruptive and to assert yourself to where and what you want and who you want to be, and trust that inner child a little bit more. The inner child is closer to Spirit and the vibration of Spirit and God and the angels than we who have been on this planet for a while and experienced all of the human dynamics of disappointment and hurt and, these new things like ghosting and people just, coming and going. So I feel like this is for Pisces, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. This week is about really connecting with Spirit in a trusting way that says, if I assert myself lovingly towards what I want, this isn't about coming in with some sort of machete and knocking people's heads off. It's more about just saying, you know what? Yes, I'd love to go to dinner. Do you want to go to Mexican? I don't want to go to Mexican. We eat Mexican all the time. I'd rather go have Italian. Just that. Just a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's go on to our Aquarius. And as I go backwards each week, I think I'm getting better at remembering where I'm going. Okay, what's going on? Good morning. It's Ariu. Ariu? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tiffany. Okay. Yes, with the number 1. No, it's her name has no AH in Deborah. I think it's just an A. And then I think it's Alonzo with an S. It was in the comments last week. Okay, here we go. Oh, Rosetta. So good to see everybody in the chat. It's my favorite part, is watching everybody interact. I love that. Okay. Here we go. Aquarius rising, moon and sun. Our first angel is Archangel Raphael. The second is Bridget. The third is Vanessa. And the final is Azure. All right. Okay, joining Archangel Raphael is the fire fairy. Joining Bridget is the frog. Joining Vanessa is the cat. And joining Azure is the butterfly. Well. That's very interesting. So in our foundational position, we have Archangel Raphael. And Archangel Raphael is, pardon me, I'm going to interrupt myself. Sylvia, I'm going backwards today. So I started with Pisces and I'm going towards Aries. So Capricorn's coming up next. Okay. So Archangel Raphael is the angel of physical healing, okay? And the fire fairy is about creative action and optimism. And I want to say this because I'm going to jump for my Aquarians all the way to the 4th position, because the butterfly is here and Azure, saying that your desired outcome will happen in the near future. You do not have to force it to happen. And I want to say this about the butterfly this week. To me, it's like, when the butterfly is going through its metamorphosis and it's going into the cocoon, there's a certain amount of automatic, it doesn't intend for that transformation. It sort of is, it's part of its evolution as a creature. And so there's an automatic thing that happens. There's like our hearts beat automatically. I don't know if I'm speaking very well right now, because what I'm trying to say is I feel like when I go to Archangel Raphael and the Fire Fairy, I want to say this is a really important time to dig deep and to allow your deepest dreams to come through, because Spirit is saying that your desired outcome will happen, but there is a certain amount of transformation that you have nothing to do with. It's almost like it's on automatic pilot. It's like, I don't have anything. I don't make my liver run. The body knows how to make it run. So it's knowing what it's doing, because for my Aquarians, in the opportunity, the obstacle is an emotional release in the form of the frog. And Bridget is really asking you to look deeper into the opportunity of this emotional release. If for some reason this release would allow you to really have more independence and more faith. And I want to say this, because this feels interior. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily about something outside of myself. That's why I keep getting this automatic feeling inside of me, this feeling that it's almost as if there's a transformation that's happening that will happen regardless of my consciousness of it. I guess that's how I want to say it. So for Aquarians this week, the true healing comes in your being able to be creatively. And I want to say, when I say creative, it's like, instead of going, oh man, this can't be good. Well, maybe it can be good. That's the creative thought. Maybe there's a shift. I've had a dynamic lately where there's sort of been this in my practice, these people who have been afraid to speak their truth to their partners or business partners or friends for fear that the dynamic would shift. And so they've been holding back. And then a few of them have been brave enough to actually speak their truth. And sometimes it happened in an argument. I'm not going to say it didn't. But the outcome that they had anticipated being so bad wasn't that bad at all. It was more of an opening of things. And the things that they had feared, or the reactions they feared, didn't happen. That's where I think I'm going with this. Is for my Aquarians, this is about, this transformation within yourself to allow yourself to express yourself, and that there's a very high potential that this will work out way better than you think it will. Okay. All right. So Stephen is picking numbers because I every week give away a free half hour. And I don't know if I said that this week because I was a little discombobulated. And we pick a number between 1 and 500. And if you're the first person to pick that number, you get to win, and you have a week to claim your prize. And this week, Deborah Alonzo, I believe I'm saying that correct, won the free half hour. So we can do that either over Skype, and if you're in the United States, we could do it over the phone or over FaceTime. So that's why we do the numbers every week. And we have this huge jar of numbers. So we'll pick a new one later. Okay, so here we go on to Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn, let's see what Spirit has to say from my goats. And we'll do a recap, guys, of all the numbers that are out of play, so you don't have to worry about picking them. Hopefully narrowing the field. Did pretty good. We've had 3 winners in 4 weeks, which has been pretty good, pretty exciting. Oh, Karen, that's a really nice thing to hear, to read in the chat. One lesson I've learned that when I spoke was I was really, or one lesson I learned was that when I spoke what I was really feeling, others would say, I've been waiting for you to say that. That is awesome. And I really think that's where that was for Aquarius. But it's a little, it can be something for all of us. And oftentimes, if we wait long enough to say something, there's such a build up and such a frustration about it that maybe we're not expressing ourselves. And when we can do it in a more conscious way, it'll land in a different way. Okay, here we go. Okay, we are onto our goats. Capricorn rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Okay, our first angel is Archangel Michael. Our second is Francesca. Our third is Caressa. And the final is Chantal. Okay, here we go. Creepy Kitta, Mars and Capricorn. I think Mars likes Capricorn. I think it's feeling pretty, I think that's exalted. Heidi, isn't Mars exalted in Capricorn? If not, it certainly likes it. Oh, yes, thank you, Heidi. Okay, I am learning, you guys. Yay. All right. And I don't know if Creepy knows that exaltation is a very good thing. It's where the vibration of the planet feels the most empowered. So, yay! Okay, here we go, Capricorn. Joining Archangel Michael is the Joy card. Joining Francesca is the Wasp. Joining Caressa is Communication. And joining Chantal is the Restriction card. Okay. So this is the thing. I think I read someone say in the chat that they've been, as a Capricorn, been having a bit of a challenge. And yes, having this transit has been very, enlightening. We'll say that, okay? And I feel like now that I see the whole spread, this is an opportunity for us to express joy. When I say us, I mean Capricorn. Archangel Michael on this card talks about having the courage to step forward into what is my deepest truth and to joyously do so. Now, what I've learned is that joy is one of the hardest emotions for the human to feel, because as they start to feel joy, they start to fear the taking away of that joy. And that is what Saturn does. Saturn restricts. And I feel a little bit like the opportunity for Capricorn this week is about pushing past what is happening right now, what you see in the 3D world, and to move beyond and start to focus in on the solution of it. Because in the opportunity, the obstacle, Francesca says, what do you desire right now? To focus on that, because if you're focusing in on the challenge, it's going to inflame it, and that is evidenced by the Wasp. Whether we realize it or not, our belief system is where the beginning of our creation, our manifestation starts. If you've known people who have a lot of money, oftentimes the last thing they think about is money, because they feel a flow of it. So there's a natural vibration that brings that money to them. And then there's people who have the opposite, where they're always affirming, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. You will start to create that experience, because I feel like what the angels are saying in Caressa is, at the end of a life cycle, and new happiness awaits you. And there's the communications card. What is your self-talk, Capricorn? What are you saying? Are you saying so much to yourself that this is never going to end? My life sucks. This is just, how it goes. Nothing ever works out for me. And that may have been true up until now, but maybe that's what this whole conjunction, this whole transit leading up to this conjunction is bringing, is this interruptive energy that breaks away an old story. Because I feel like this is straight up about romance. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not that I would never be honest with you, but I'm just saying, there's the restriction card, and there's Chantal talking about romance. Romance being either the resurgence of a romance that you're already in or a new romance coming in. And what I want to say for my Capricorns is I feel like you've been working on your relationships for a long time now. We've talked about it week after week, and now it's kind of time to, this restriction card a little bit is feeling like it's talking about, are you expressing joy in your relationships? Are you, what's your self-talk doing that may be affecting your experience in your life? And at the very least, it's a relationship you have with yourself, because you know what they say, mama ain't happy, nobody's happy, happy wife, happy life. We have to, as humans, being happy on the inside or being able to express a joy. Stephen recently had, a job interview and it didn't work out. And I intuitively thought, what's great. I don't think that position might have been lined up to his greatest happiness. And that's what I think this is about here for Capricorn, is being able to see if something didn't work out the way you thought it would, or you haven't experienced things that you thought you would at this time or by this time in your life experience. Maybe you have maybe there's a million things going on. Capricorn rules through rewards through discipline and consistent action. Maybe it's time for Capricorn to start to really think joyously, hey, I have been doing the work and I don't need to be all up my own grill because I haven't seen any evidence of it yet. And maybe this was all about my self-talk. So maybe if I open the door, it can lift the restriction in many ways. And I want to say this too. If indeed you've been wanting to be in a situation more than you're paying attention to the partner. Remember years ago when Kim Kardashian married that first basketball player and everybody said something like, or he said something like, you could just pin up any guy here, insert groom here. If that's been a vibration that you're not paying attention to the depth and the quality of the situation, that might be part of what the restriction is, to look a little bit deeper into it. And of course, Cancer and Capricorn are going through, they're on the eclipse axis for the next couple of years. So it's really an opportunity for love to be interruptive, to really open things up, to move it into much more alignment for the things that you want to experience moving forward. Okay, let's go on to our Sagittarius. I know, I agree with that. I think, all signs, all people get in their own way in many, many ways, because we base our actions on our beliefs and on what we can see. And if we can't see it, we think, well, then it's not there. But oftentimes it could be just around the corner. Oh, does she, Heidi? I would not be surprised, because she's a very, very logical woman, and she's a Libra by nature. So I'm not surprised she's got that Capricorn. Stephen, 50 was the best decade of my life. It was a little jarring when I first started it, but it was the decade that I claimed myself. It was the decade that I really, the clock started to tick in my head, and not in a way that, it was more of like a calling, like, okay, it's time to really start to reap the rewards of all of the things that have happened before. And I'm going to be 60 this year. So I want to say, if you're, as you contemplate these years, when you contemplate the wisdom that you've been able to garnish and the willingness to claim yourself, sometimes we'll see old people and they don't care what they're wearing. They wear black socks and a purple hat and something funky. It's just because they've been around long enough, or they just can't be pulsed by anything else. So now you take that same attitude, but then you move it towards what you want, towards what you love, towards what you want to experience. And then Spirit starts to just open things up. Okay, Melanoma. One was the winner this week. It was won by Deborah Alonzo. So it is out of play. So please pick a different number. The numbers are between 1 and 500. Okay. Marta, thank you so much. Okay, we're going on to our Sagittarius. as I'm shuffling, I was thinking this morning about the idea that Uranus is going retrograde today. And the last time that happened, it went to back into Aries, and it was quite a disruptive time. But I want to say this, it feels a little less jarring for some reason to me this time, and it feels like it's going to have more to do with our love bodies, our intimate bodies. It's only going to go back 4 degrees over the retrograde, and I think that it's at 6 degrees Taurus now. So those people that have any, between 2 and, well, I would say 0, even that would be a loose conjunction. But these are going to be a revisit in some ways of what you've been experiencing as Uranus moved through Taurus. So I'm thinking, well, why don't we use what we learned before? Why don't we take that into account? So I think this is about everybody checking your natal charts and seeing, okay, what kind of influence does Uranus and Taurus have on my chart? Okay. Creepy Kita 555 is out of play. We're only 1 to 500. Amber, you're right in the pocket there. 2 degrees Taurus moon in the 12th. Awesome. Okay, here we go. Sagittarius, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Okay, here we go. Our first angel is Indriel. Our second is Desiree. Our third is Patience. And the final is Archangel Uriel. Okay. Good morning, Bonnie. Good morning, everybody. Did I miss anybody? Am I? Move my cursor out of the way. Lena, good morning. Okay, here we go. Indriel is being joined by the restriction card. Desiree is being joined by the king. The patience card is being joined by the lady of the lake. And Uriel is being joined by the fire fairy. Okay. As I started to pull the cards for Sagittarius, I started to think about when Jupiter was in Libra, and there was this big hype about how, great it was going to be and all this expansive energy. And it was okay. Certainly was better than Saturn going into Capricorn a little bit. But I want to say this. It wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. And here's the Indriel, the Lightworker card, and here's the restriction card. And I feel a little bit like it's kind of funny. I feel like there's been a little bit of, maybe this is Jupiter going backwards. Maybe that's what it is. Jupiter is going to go direct today as well. I think Jupiter goes direct today. Uranus goes retrograde. And then I had some other notation. I can't remember. There's another thing happening. I talked about it in last week's video. But what I want to say is that the restriction card is not always negative. Sometimes it's like that pause, because I feel like potentially that Sagittarius is irritated with the pause itself, and Spirit's asking you to have creative thought about it, that there is something in the works that you're not aware of. And I say this, I went to the 4th position for Sagittarius here, because, Archangel Uriel is about anger, frustration, the subtle little things that gnaw at us, that, we get impatient with things. I've been waiting, I've been doing this, and there's been no reaction. There's been no, I don't see any change. This is about thinking something bigger, thinking about something from a more, how can I put it? It's kind of like, I've gotten used to trying to manifest things and then feeling that pause or that stuck feeling, and knowing, oh, if I'm feeling a little stuck, then there's something that's brewing unconsciously, or there's something coming in that I'm not quite aware of. And so I don't get up my grill as much as I used to. And I ask Spirit more often, show me, reveal it to me, because I say that I'm going into the opportunity or the obstacle, and I have Desiree saying conditions aren't favorable. And then it's interesting because I have the king here, and I don't think this is about male energy. I think it has more to do with karma, with things pertaining to the law, with things pertaining to moving you closer to what it is that you really want, what Spirit's asking you to be creatively optimistic about. Because in the angel's advice, is the Patience card and the Lady of the Lake. So they're asking, this is about waiting to see. Something needs to move that you have no control over. Something needs to come into play. And this is about having the courage to know that it's time for me to observe as Spirit brings something in. The Patience card is always about gathering information, about in some ways studying. And I want to offer you this. When I'm in a place where I can't really see, like I get a little nervous or fearful about money or something like that, what I try to do is put myself in the neutral zone. So I don't dig too deeply into the fear, especially if it's getting bad, because I usually can't see the outcome, the joy that I'm telling everybody to feel. So what I do is I put myself in the neutral zone, and how I do that is, and usually it's about money if I'm to worry. So I will do little things for work. I'll do birthdays, or I will study astrology, and it manages to shift my focus into where I want to be. And then I will say to Spirit, now give me the evidence that I'm being supported. And then they come through with something. The phone will ring, someone will book, and that happens. So I feel like for my Sagittarius right now, you may be feeling slightly restricted in the things that you want as a light worker on this planet. And we all are of light beings. That is our true nature. So if your light has felt dimmed in many ways, and you're getting a little pissed off about it, just start to think creatively that, hey, maybe Spirit's got the baton. Maybe there's a karmic dynamic coming here, and this is something I can't take care of. I can't push towards it. And then as you observe it, then you will see, oh, yes, I see. Here I go. I now can have the courage because I can see that Spirit is taking care of me. Okay, I am going backwards today, everybody. I am headed towards Scorpio now. Just finished Sagittarius. I don't know why I started doing it during the Mercury retrograde, and now I feel like I'm stuck going backwards, and I kind of like it. Squares and oppositions can be good. You know, sometimes if we never go up against something that's a little tense or a little tough, we're not going to have resources. We're not going to be able to, we're going to feel insecure, especially when we've been building a big dream and we haven't run up against any obstacles towards that dream. We'll start to think, okay, that's where the joy card gets rough. And you're like, when's the other shoe going to drop? This can't last. But it can. It can, because it's all in how we view those obstacles. Okay, so here we go, Scorpio. Scorpio rising, Scorpio moon, Scorpio sun, and stelliums. I just have to say it. I need a haircut, guys. Okay, I'm done. Thank you, JP. Okay, yeah, we are on Scorpio rising. And you know, you guys are ruled by Pluto. So don't fight the system. Here we go. Merlina is our first angel. The second is Celeste. The third is Layla. And the final is Rochelle. Rochelle's my fave. Okay. Joining Merlina is the High Priestess. Joining Celeste is the Butterfly. Joining Layla is the Earth Fairy. And joining Rochelle is the Restriction card. Okay. Scorpio, here we go. All right. So this is, you know, here we have Merlina and the High Priestess. Merlina represents confusion, represents indecision. It represents not being... it's a little bit of an uncomfortable energy, because it feels like you need outside help. But I want to say it this way, because with the High Priestess here, to me, this is really, I'm confused about the vision of what I want for myself. I'm confused about, is it going to happen? Because I'm going here because Rochelle is here in the final position saying, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you with the Restriction card. Okay, this is where I'm going with this. Scorpio, you're very deep, you're very intense, you're very rich and savory in your emotional body. And so when things have dinged you, or when things have rubbed up against you in a way that doesn't feel warm and fuzzy, sometimes you can take that Pluto right down the drain. And I feel like this is where Merlina and the High Priestess are saying, no, 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 try not to go there. Try to step into the vision of what you really want, because you're being challenged in some ways to trust your heart. And that's what this restriction card is. So this is that final position. So in the angels, in the opportunity, the obstacle is Celeste. Celeste for me is a card that talks about changing jobs or places to live, but it's a way that you think, because however I think, if you put me here in Laguna Beach, you put me in Vail, Colorado, you put me in Ixtapa, Mexico, I'm going to think a certain way. And this is the opportunity for the transformation of how you think. And this is about God and the angels helping you create a new foundation. And your water sign, this earth here is to help you ground that. You're going to be able to ground your new viewpoint by connecting with spirit, with God and the angels. Because if you're left to your own devices, the water will keep rising and your vision will get more muddied. So I feel like for Scorpio, this particular transit is extremely intense. I mean, we're all feeling it intensely, but the ruling planet having this kind of vibration, it's really about keeping, I guess what I want to say is that Lotta had a video on Pluto. And one of the things she talked about, and this is when she was still living in Europe, it's one of her older videos. She really talked about how dark it is and how scary it is. But when you get on the other side of it, it is the kind of thing that allows your heart to feel safer and safer, because you're less shocked, less awed, and more empowered by the transformation. So that's what Scorpio, I think, has so much opportunity. When you see the darkness and then you see that the light starting to crack open. And as you allow for that light to crack open, then there's a wisdom behind where you've been that only Scorpio can bring to the table. Okay. Yes, Pluto is like the Phoenix effect. Exactly, Heidi. I love that. And that's why I think Scorpio is such a beautiful, intense, pretty gnarly sign, but it gives such reward, such reward. Okay. And that's part of this earthly experience, is to be able to keep our eye on the prize. Because I say it all the time, you can't have a hero without a villain, and you can't have dark without light, and you can't have empowerment without disempowerment. There's a wisdom to the contrast, and there's a wisdom to us being able to allow ourselves the privilege of the journey versus tanking ourselves. Oh no. Okay. Sorry, a little drama today. All right, we're going on to Libra. Libra rising, Libra sun, that's me, and Libra moon, and Libra stelliums. Here we go. Our first angel is Ray. The second is Chantal. The third is Rosetta. And the final is Archangel Gabriel. All right, here we go. Okay, joining Ray, we have the Perception card. Joining Chantal, we have the Goblin. Joining Rosetta is the Partnership card. And joining Archangel Gabriel is the Wasp. Well, this is so not fun. I can just say that right now. All right, we'll see what we can do with it. Okay, so my Libras, my fellow Librans, Ray, for me, Ray talks about yoga and exercise being essential to your well-being, but because of the position of the angel on the card, I always see it as connecting to spirit with my power center, my power chakra, my heart, and my throat, and the way that I speak. And then here we have the perception card. I really believe that for my Libras this week, it's about having the perception and looking at things from God's point of view. You know, from God's point of view, from the angelic realm, there's no mistakes. You know, there's no bad guy, there's no good guy. It's just an opportunity for contrast so that we can feel, you know, again, without disempowerment, you wouldn't know empowerment. Without fear, you wouldn't know love. So here is Chantal, the angel of love, the angel of romance, and here's the goblin. And it feels like, and I'm just going to say it, Libras might be challenged a little bit in their partnerships this week. The angel's advice is about having this in this position. The angel's advice is about being a little naive in your partnerships and looking where you may be feeling a little hurt and beat up in your love body. Because in the final position, I have the Wasp and I have Archangel Gabriel. The Wasp is a bit of a stinging energy. It's not fun. It's about anger. It's about retaliation. It's about jealousy. It's Pluto. This is so Pluto, okay? And here's Archangel Gabriel saying, watch, how are you talking about yourself? How are you talking to yourself? What is really, turn over your insecurities, your misguided perceptions, Libra, about your love life. If indeed, let's just say, okay, this Pluto conjunction, Saturn nonsense, all these retrogrades, what if things cracked up a little bit and relationships had some rocky moments and some of them may have gone over the cliff? Maybe there's a bigger wisdom to that moment. Maybe there's something about that. And sometimes I want to say this too. I just got the image of a client who had a relationship going and the partner said that he was, you know, he wasn't into it. He thought she was a wonderful person, but at the time he just didn't think it was the right thing for him. And a year later, he came back and reached out to her and said, I've thought a lot about this and I think I was wrong. I think actually maybe we would be good together. And they reconnected. So I want to offer this for my Libras. I just got chills everywhere. Maybe this is a moment, Libra moon, Libra rising, Libra sun, Libra stelliums. If there's a little bit of a icky part of the road here in your love sector, your love body, maybe it's an opportunity for you to shift your perception about not only the situation, but about yourself and your value in the relationship. And then allow Archangel Gabriel and those that are watching over you to show you something different that can actually transform this energy. Right now, I'm not feeling like it's fun, but I am feeling like it's very purposeful and very useful coming forward. So I would say to really stick with what the angels are saying and to have a very more optimistic, childlike viewpoint of your partnerships moving forward. And if your current partnership is not reflecting that, let Pluto do its thing and then stand in observation and be the good Libran that you are and weigh the scales to see if this relationship or these dynamics are really serving you moving forward. Okay. Going on to our Virgos. I'm going to take a little sip of my tea. Thank you, Tata. I don't know how to say Tatan for ik. I don't know if I said that again. I don't like the goblin either, LP. I don't. When it comes up, it's not fun. But the goblin serves a great purpose. For without our ego, especially our wounded ego, we wouldn't know the opposite. And that's where we have to keep our eye on the prize. Okay. All right, my Virgos. Yes, you can find us on Tatan. You can find me and other readers on Lotta's website. That's www.astrolotta.com. And then under the reader's menu, you'll see. I usually put a link in the information after the video. I will. So you can always just click on that. Okay, here we go, my Virgos. Our first angel is Daniel. Our second is Archangel Gabriel. Our third is Archangel Uriel. And the final is Layla. Ooh. Ooh. Cards flying everywhere. Okay. All right, my Virgos. Daniel is being joined by the Wealth card. Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the King. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Truth card. And the final is the Mystery card. Well, well, well. Okay. So Daniel is the angel of marriage, talks about, assisting you right now, bringing in a partner. It also talks about your personal history within that partnership or within your life experience. And if you're bringing that into the partnership, because there's an opportunity for harmonious wealth within partnerships for Virgos. And I want to say this too, because for me, the primary energy with Daniel is he's asking us to wipe the chalkboard clean. Now, there'll always be dust on it. A used chalkboard, you'll see remnants of previous experiences or lessons, but it doesn't have to dominate the blackboard. Because this is about, here's the King and Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel, again, will talk about turning over your insecurities to her. And I want to say this too, because the King, of course, can represent a man in a relationship, but he also represents karma. It also represents truth and justice. And then I have Archangel Uriel and the Truth card here. And this is what I want to say, because all Virgos are not necessarily in a relationship, but maybe wanting a relationship. And maybe it's time to karmically turn over whatever insecurities or whatever your previous story of your relationships to Archangel Gabriel and to Daniel so that they can transform them. Because here, this is the Truth card and Archangel Uriel. Again, Archangel Uriel helps us balance those feelings of unforgiveness, of frustration, of anger. And when we've had experiences, the longer we are on the planet, the longer we have an opportunity to have imbalanced relationships. And those aren't just intimate relationships. They can be work relationships, family relationships, friendships. Because what Spirit is asking for Virgo this week, I'm going to go back to the Wealth card and to Daniel and to Layla and the Mystery card. Mystery is about choice. We were not assigned a lifetime. We chose a lifetime, and God gave us free will, and that's evidenced by the Mystery card. And then here is Layla. God is saying, spend time in nature with me so that I can give you signs and omens so that you can make choices that will really take you where you want to go. This is harmonious wealth. This is what is being offered in your relationships, Virgo. But before that happens, there's a certain amount of way that you are communicating, not just with others, but with yourself. And are you truly allowing your truth to come out, or are you somehow bottling it up or afraid to speak it? Because this week is about connecting with God and the angels so that they can help you to make choices that take you into a richer dynamic within your love life. Even if you're single, Virgo, I want to say this. If you're single, what's the story you've been telling yourself? Are you telling yourself you're not good enough? You're not in the right shape? You don't have enough money? I don't know, whatever the earthly obstacle may be. Because love is an energy, and it's about inviting that energy in. And that energy, we all want to be in relationships where we're not picked at and judged, but where we're accepted for who we are and allow ourselves to be the highest vibration of ourselves in that relationship. So that's what I feel. And again, this is more than just intimate relationships. These are all the relationships, friend relationships, business relationships, the relationship you have with your landlord while you're telling them about mice. Okay, let's go on to Leo. I'm going backwards, everybody. In case you just joined the room, I started with Pisces, and I'm ending with Aries. I've been doing it for the last, I think 4 weeks or so. And I don't know why, I kind of like it. It's a little different. The numbers, Tamara, are about between 2 and 500 now exactly, because one is out of play. And that's to win a free half-hour reading with me. And you have 1 week once it is, we announce the winner to claim your prize. Okay, so here we go on to our Leos. Thank you, Karen. Thank you very much. All right. Welcome, India. All right, here we go. Leo rising, sun, moon, and stelliums. Our first angel is Yvonne. The second is Opal. The third is Archangel Gabriel. And the final is Merlina. Okay. All right, joining Yvonne is the king. Joining Opal is the stag. Joining Archangel Gabriel is the lady of the lake. And joining Merlina is the hawk. Okay, for my Leos, hello, Holland, welcome. Okay, I really, as I was looking at this, and I feel like this is about children. I really do. The Yvonne is in a position of, okay, so we're on Leo, right? Leo rising, Leo sun, Leo moon, Leo stelliums. And here's Yvonne holding a small kitten. Okay, this is like my little cubs, my little Leo cubs, to be vulnerable to what the things that you want. And when I saw the king, I thought this was really about karma. In many ways, I thought this is about bringing little children into the world, because there's the children. Opal says your children on heaven and on earth are safe and guided by the angels and protected by the angels. And then here's the stag, card of leadership. This is in my opportunity and or my obstacle. And then here's Archangel Gabriel. She's saying, again, to turn over insecurities and to pay attention to your self-talk, because this is, in this instance, is about, it's about courage, the courage to think and communicate differently. Can you see Lucky in the background digging? Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Because this is what I want to say. I feel like for my my Leos this week, this is about, I really feel like this is about bringing children into the world. I feel like it's about, I'm going to remove somebody here. I'm not quite sure what this is about, so I'm sorry. We don't want to take any of those. We're not into that right now. Okay, because this is, okay, I know people are going to get so mad I interrupt myself. Sorry. Okay, I think this is about the king of the zodiac, because Leo is the king, and here is being vulnerable to my little kittens. I want to bring them into the world. God and the angels are here watching over them, and it's your job to stand in leadership and believe with all your heart and trust and have the courage to trust and turn over any insecurities to Archangel Gabriel, because Merlina is here and here's the hawk. So let me just lay this out for you. Say you are a Leo, sun, rising, moon, all that stuff, and you've been wanting to have kids, or you want to have more kids, or something to do with, I really believe this is about little humans, okay? It could be birthing your dreams, but I'm not getting it that way. I'm getting it about little humans. And if indeed it hasn't happened, or there's been a stall, think about all the retrogrades. Think about the idea that our birth chart is our plan. And what if your little babies are saying, I'm just going to wait a few months. I'm going to let these retrogrades calm down. 2018 was riddled with retrogrades. We have this slow conjunction that's been happening between Pluto and Saturn throughout 2018. So we go and say, maybe we'll wait. will wait to come in. And your job as a Leo is to know, of course, my cubs are coming in. It's just a matter of timing, that they too are souls, and my job will be to guide them. So I'm going to rise above my fears and look for God and the angels to give me signs and omens. And I'm going to do my research to calm my fears as well. I'm going to stand in many ways vulnerable, but as a leader in what I want for myself and my family. Because it really does, for some reason, this is just, and I'm a childless woman, so I'm sure there's some of you that do not have children, or don't even want to have children. And in that case, then I would go to the idea of this opal representing your dreams. But honestly, this week, this feels like really little people. So I'm going to leave it at that. If indeed you are of childbearing years and you want to have children, this is a time to open up your sight as to when they will, giving the idea of when they would be actually birthed into this. And is that a good, are the seas calm enough? You don't want to be born in the middle of a storm. And if indeed you already have children, then this is about being vulnerable to a bigger picture of them as they evolve on this planet. And for those of you like me that just never wanted to have children, then opal's going to represent your dreams. All right, let's go on to Cancer. That felt a little choppy. Last week's number was, I can't remember. Oh, it was 1. Last week's number was 1. It was Deborah Alonzo. Okay. Oh, I know what you're talking about, small wildflowers. Astro Queen, I think, was put in the comments of last week, and I think that number was 157. I have a list, though. I'll check. Okay, here we go. We're going on to our Cancers, our little moon children. I like calling you moon children more than crabs, although crab is good when it's on a plate with butter. Okay, here we go. All right, Cancer. Our first angel is Akasha. The second is Athena. The third is Layla. And the final is Crystal. Oh, I like that. Okay. Joining Akasha is the serpent. Joining Athena is the fire fairy. Joining Layla is the bird. And joining Crystal is the disruption card. Interesting. For my Cancers this week, my moon children, Akasha is a spiritual teacher card. It says to be open to, how's it phrased? You're a spiritual teacher. You have the ability to counsel others and to help awaken their spiritual gifts and divine life's mission. And then here is the serpent. The serpent is about knowledge and healing. I want to say this for my Cancers. I don't necessarily think this is about teaching others through your words, as much as I feel like this is about teaching through experience, because in the opportunity, the obstacle, I have Athena saying that it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself towards the things that you want. And then there's the fire fairy about having creative action and optimism. The fire fairy is very much, to me, has the energy of Mars, of Aries, of being, enthusiastic and about pushing yourself forward a little bit, and about allowing your, what's the word? The spark of creativity, the things that the Queen of Wands brings in. Because in the Angel's Advice, I have the Baird and I have Layla. So for my Cancers, you don't have fire. Well, you may have fire in your chart, but you're water sign, and water drowns out fire. So now it's a time to have an opportunity to assert yourself lovingly with enthusiasm, thinking, oh, yay, this is a good thing. And this way, this is the history card, and this is the connection to spirit through nature. This is the Angel's Advice. If you want to, I'm going to go over here back to the first position. If in your life there's certain things, certain dynamics that you've been purporting ways of being that are helping others to learn. God, I'm not saying that very well. When I say learn, this is what I was saying. There was a saying when I was a kid, put your money where your mouth is, right? So it was sort of like, don't tell me to do something that you don't do yourself. So to me, this is where Cancers can teach through experience by them choosing to lovingly assert themselves and communicate their truth, which will help their history, your story. There's signs that something's shifting within your story. Something's changing within your life as you assert yourself lovingly. Because Crystal says, have faith and hope, because there's more on the horizon that you can't see. And there's the disruption card. Do you remember when I said, oh, sorry for you guys who are just going to the timestamps, but earlier I said, sometimes love is interruptive. Sometimes it says no to imbalance rather than just saying yes. So to me, this is about saying no to something that you may not feel aligned to lovingly assert yourself, to not allow your history to mess with you too much, but instead turn to nature for signs that this is indeed being supported by spirit, so that this disruption can shift things in a bigger way for you. This whole, every week I talk about, and I probably will until it's over, because until Saturn moves off of Pluto, and this is they're going to hit each other, and then Saturn's going to have to creep off of him. So it's going to take a while. This is really where all of us have an opportunity to let whatever imbalance has been hanging out, or whatever is in our loving truth, to come to the surface. And it doesn't always have to come to the surface to somebody else. This could be lovingly asserting yourself to yourself and saying, you know what? I want this for me now. I want this for me. And it's time. And as I said, allowing people to learn through the experience of you doing something a little bit different and putting you first. Okay. That's that for Cancer. I felt a little like I was sitting on a soapbox there for a minute. Okay. Welcome, Poland. Oh, I have a challenging family life. Well, actually, I don't have a family life anymore because I got sick of the challenge and I stepped out of the fray. And sometimes that, that love is interruptive, is about putting the love of self first. Okay, we're going to go on to Gemini. Okay, everybody. And if you really want to get a more personal, more in-depth, I would listen to my moon. I listen to my rising, then my moon, and then my sun. Okay, Gemini, here we go. Our first angel is Bridget. The second is Rochelle. The third is Layla. And the final is Rosetta. Okay, Bridget is being joined by the water fairy. Rochelle is being joined by the bird. Layla is being joined by the butterfly. And Rosetta is being joined by the hawk. Gemini, oh boy, okay. So I want to say this. So this week we have Bridget asking me to look deeper into my emotions, asking me to look deeper into the situation before taking action. And I want to say this because there's a little bit of a push-pull between my Geminis, because one is wanting to move towards the things of your heart that you believe in, and the other is like a little bit in your history of saying, I don't know, maybe not, can I, I don't know. Because here is Layla and the butterfly. Spend time in nature, allowing nature to confirm and to support this transformation within yourself, because that's what the butterfly represents. But this is not an easy transition. If you think about it, it's a little teeny weeny worm And it has to go out of being a worm to have these wings sprouting out that were who knows where inside that little teeny worm body. It's a very, and then once it comes out of the cocoon, it is very vulnerable as its wings dry. So this is a very vulnerable time for Gemini, because I say that because in the final position is Rosetta and the Hawk. And this is sort of the difference between, looking at your whole story and where you've been and going, oh my God, that's what this is all about. This always happens to me. And this saying, no, it doesn't always have to happen. I want to say this. We only need one great career move, and I don't mean one, but like when we move towards, let's just say, when I was a kid, I got a job working at B of A. I did it because my parents thought it would be a good, stable job for me, and I wanted to poke my own eyeballs out. I hated it more than anything. All I wanted to do is throw tarot cards and learn about spirituality and explore my past lives and figure out why I had this life I had. And as I allowed myself, and this is why I love being an Aries rising and a Taurus moon, I'm freaking stubborn, and I had to find it. And this is how I sit here today, because I had to follow what I love, not what my story told me. And it wasn't an easy transformation, but I will say this, guys, that connection to spirit, and the reason I do the animal totems every week is because that helped keep me in alignment with what I wanted when everything around me felt like it was crazy and I was crazy for wanting these things. Because it is about rising above my fears and about having the sight of a child, the innocence, instead of going too deep into my story. And that's the thing about Gemini. You twins, you can go back and forth. I can't. It'll happen. It won't happen. And then you'll go to what you've seen and what you've known. And then you'll say, oh no, this is what's happened. This is what's happened. And to follow your heart right now is going to be even more challenging, because there is this dynamic of fear being bubbled up, of the sewage in our lives. That's what Pluto rules, is the sewage. It rules death and rebirth. It rules, to me, it feels like it's ruling manure right now, because, the sewage is coming up, and hopefully Saturn is drying it out so we can put it in the garden and it can help grow flowers. So be gentle a little bit with yourself this week. If for some reason, and I want to offer this to my Geminis, because if you have Gemini with some Taurus influence, maybe this is kind of going to hit you in a weird way, where there's a part of you that feels a little anchored and then a part of you that feels like it's going like this. And that might be creating a little bit of a mishmash in your head. But this is where you go to spirit and you say, give me the signs and the omens to anchor what it is that I want in my own heart, so that I can anchor it into this experience. Okay, moving on to Taurus. All right, guys. My early Taurians, you guys have really, with Uranus being here, I just want to offer you this, because I am I'm a late degree Aries rising. And so when Uranus was going through Aries, I wasn't studying astrology actively. I was just living my life. And so many things happened. Some were challenging. Some were, my pop died. And other, I lost an animal or two during that period. It's a long period. But I also started my own business. I also became more ingrained in who and what I am and what I wanted for myself. And I think that that is something that Uranus has to offer for Taurus. So when these, as you are able to put your intention, and I want to say this too, because again, guys, remember Taurus sun, Taurus, I've got a Taurus moon at 9 degrees. So I just sort of missed this retrograde. As far as I know, it's only going to go over my moon one time. But the early degree Taurians are going to feel Uranus's. Now this is the third time, because it went backwards, then it went forwards, and now it's going backwards again. So I'm saying all of this so that you can kind of go into this observation of what happened during this period of time, and can I connect the dots so that I can actually use this next retrograde to shift it where I want it to go? I hope that made sense. Okay. Manure is the best fertilizer. All right, here we go. Taurus, rising, Taurus, moon, Taurus, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Azure. The second is Archangel Gabriel. Third is Archangel Michael. And the final is Isabella. Yay! Sometimes when I start talking and then I pick the cards, I just feel like the cards are backing up what I'm getting. It's so warming. All right. Joining Azure is the spider. Joining Archangel Gabriel is the serpent. Joining Archangel Michael is the dragon. And joining Isabella is the wasp. Okay. All right. So Azure talks about your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have faith and don't try to force it. Here's the spider. For me, the spider is always, it's a relationship card, honestly. The fly has a certain relationship with the spider, and once it gets in the web, it's not coming out. So whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest right now, and I want to say this because this Azure is assuring you that you've been putting in the hard work. The spider is like Saturn in some ways. It's telling you it's going to stick. Now, it's interesting to me because I'm going to jump to the fourth position. Isabella is saying, yes, the timing is right for this. And then here is the wasp. The wasp is cranky. The wasp is angry. And I want to say this. I feel like you may be, I want to put it this way for Taurus. The timing of something may have been frustrating you. That's where the wasp is coming. And it's more about having that faith and not letting the wasp get in your way. And when I say not letting the wasp get in your way, I'm kind of meaning it in such a sense of timing sometimes is not all just our putting forth the effort. There are certain dynamics that have to come into play, because in the opportunity, the obstacle, I have Archangel Gabriel saying that to turn over your insecurities, and it's about communication and how you're communicating with your inner dialogue. And you have an opportunity to shed an inner dialogue that does not serve you, and to step into your power and more into your divine life's purpose. This, when Aries was, when Uranus was going through Aries, I didn't know I was born on the star Spica. I just knew that my whole life I've been pulled towards this work, towards wanting to help empower others through a connection to God and the angels. So as I made more moves towards myself, I got frustrated many times with the timing of things, with how, things I felt like I'd move forward and then step back and then move forward. And then it all started to coagulate. It all started to say, I just kept getting the message from Spirit. The more brave I was willing to be within my own life, the more they would be able to show me the support that what I was being brave about made sense. And it only made sense to me at the time because I didn't have any real community. My family is not into spirituality at all. They have a whole different way of thinking about things. So for my Taurus, what I'm trying to say is that there are changes afoot. There are things coming that I believe have been divinely contracted for by you at this time. And so the things that are breaking away are not meant to piss you off as much as they're meant for you to be able to maybe see yourself being more flexible as Spirit takes the baton and moves things for you a bit. And because you can't necessarily move them yourself. And I know for me, all of a sudden I got the image of me when I've been hurt, when my feelings have been hurt, I can be a little bit of a stubborn mule. And I know Taurus is a bull, but and I've watched myself as I have had disagreements with people, and I've been different for me, not for them, because I wanted to feel like I didn't need to be so stubborn. And in doing so, I felt like, wow, it made the relationship stronger and better. And it made me also let to flatten another button on myself. So, okay, so that's where I'm going with that. And now I'm on to finally Aries. Okay, here we go, Aries. Okay. Oh, yes. I can feel my Taurus. Oh my goodness, is very strong. It's in my second house. It's exalted there, which is fun. Okay, everybody, here we go to our final sign. Our most patient is Wildflowers. You didn't miss one. I just wasn't unsure if somebody was what they meant. Okay, here we go. Aries, here we go. Our first angel is Rochelle. Oh, I love that. Our second is Fiona. The third is Serena. And the final is Maya. Oh, I'm getting chills all over the place, guys. I'm always excited when I see Rochelle come out. And Serena and Fiona almost always come out together, which is really funny. We'll look at that in a minute, but because they're both it's like they're best friends, I swear. I don't know if they are or not, but okay. Joining Rochelle is the Queen. Joining Fiona is the Wealth card. Joining Serena is the Baird. And joining Maya is the Water Fairy. Okay. This is pretty awesome if you ask me. So Rochelle talks about, as I honor and follow the guidance of my heart, prosperity is coming to me now. This for me is harmonious wealth. This is not just about money. This is feeling good and thriving in all the areas of my body. My physical body, my emotional body, my spiritual body, my financial body, my career body, all my bodies, my family body. And then here's the Queen. And I really believe that this is a fertile time to seize what it is that Aries wants. It is time to really dig deep and trust and follow the guidance of your heart, because here is the Wealth card. Again, another card of harmonious wealth. And Fiona saying that now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. Look at how joyous she is in her reception. She's got not a worry in the world. And in the angels' advice is Serena. Serena this is straight up money. And she's Miss Jazzy. Look, her eyes are closed. She's not a worry in the world. And it's time for you to let go of that part of your story that says, I do not get what I want, because Serena and Fiona are saying you are. And this is the other thing. I think because you've been standing in a great energy here, honoring the guidance of your heart in many ways, this is where we see the Maya talks about schooling and education, and the Water Fairy is about my emotions and about my intuitions. I feel like Maya is giving me an education that, as I honor and trust the guidance of my heart, I'm much more fertile in the things, and my fertility comes from my emotional body. My emotional body is where I express the joy, the excitement, the anticipation, the enthusiasm for what it is I want to create. And that's what God and the angels are offering us. So for my Aries, and this is in some ways should be very natural for you, to be able to be enthusiastic and bold in your own ideas and the things that you want to experience and you want to birth on this planet. And I feel like during this next week, it's really, whether or not there's actual manifestation of it, now is a time to really step into your energetic body and know that that excitement is like, it's like putting gasoline in the tank. It's like giving it the fuel for the manifestation to start to really show itself. And if indeed you are concerned about money, that money will be on its way. That's Serena and Fiona coming out together always says that whatever resources you need will show up. So that's it for this week. Today is a big day astrologically. I think we still have good aspects between Jupiter and Venus as well. They can be seen out in the night sky over here in California. And I want to thank you all for joining me again. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guide, and empowerment coach. And I'm here every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific with messages from your angels by astrological rising sign. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you can go to Lotta's site. The link is below in the information, and you can find me in the reader's menu. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. So thank you all for showing up and being here with me this morning. Please feel free to hit the like button. We like likes. They work good for me. And I hope you'll join me again next week for more messages from your angels. Lots of love to you. May God and the angels bless and keep you throughout the week. Namaste.